Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Troy Clayton, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Major Graham Hales. We warmly welcome the family of Private James Cunningham, whose story will be told shortly. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We also acknowledge the members of the RSL Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria, and RSL Queensland, who are watching this ceremony broadcast across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by family, visitors, as well as students on behalf of the French School Secondary Department from Maroubra, New South Wales. Australia's Federation Guard is the tri-service ceremonial unit of the Australian Defence Force. They provide a ceremonial presence at civil and military events and during visits to Australia by foreign dignitaries. The Guard will now dismount the catapult party from the tomb of the unknown Australian soldier. Please stand and join in singing the national anthem.
Catapult party, attention! Catapult party presents arms.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Boys and girls, you may be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
G'day. Today we remember and pay tribute to Private James Cunningham. James Cunningham, known as Jimmy, was born in Liverpool, England on the 13th of August 1896, the son of Patrick and Rose Cunningham. He was baptised 3 days later into the Catholic faith. His father worked as a dock labourer and his mother was a shopkeeper. In his early teens, James worked as an errand boy for a fish dealer. It is believed that he ran away from home around the age of 16 and stowed away on board a ship to Australia. He went on to work for a Mr. Alex Gibson as a carter in Brisbane, becoming friends with his family. James Cunningham enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force in May 1915. He underwent a period of training in Australia before leaving for active service overseas with reinforcements to the 9th Battalion. He first went to Egypt and then to Mundros before it was evident that the evacuation from Gallipoli would go ahead. It is not entirely clear from his service record, but it seems unlikely that he made it to the peninsula itself before returning to Egypt. The 9th Battalion arrived on the Western Front after several months of training in the desert. First entering the front line in a quiet sector, the battalion conducted some raids to acclimatise to conditions in the European War. On the night of the 1st of June 1916, Cunningham went with a raiding party into no man's land. The enemy began bombing, but Cunningham pushed forward boldly and was instrumental in driving away many of the enemy into dugouts where they were bombed. Less than a month later, on the 23rd of July 1916, the 9th Battalion took part in a successful attack on the French village of Pozières. While the village was captured, the 9th Battalion became under heavy fire from the northeast and struggled to advance alongside its neighbouring battalions. Private Cunningham and another man went forward to bomb a German strongpost after the main part of the attack was over. He and another man were struck by a German bomb and were killed outright. Private James Cunningham and his companion, Private Herbert Dixon, were buried in a trench near where they fell. Their graves were lost in subsequent fighting, and today they are commemorated on a memorial to the missing at Village Bretenow. In Brisbane, the Gray family mourned their friend with a notice in a local newspaper. It read, "His country called and honour bade him go to battle against a grim and deadly foe. He helped to bring Australia into fame, to build for her a never-dying name. Foremost was he in the thickest strife, for king and country laid he down his life." A little over a week after his death, Private James Cunningham was awarded the Military Medal for his courage and gallantry during the raid in June. He was 19 years old. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, among almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private James Jimmy Cunningham, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
Thunderbolt Party presents arms.
lest we forget.
Lest we forget.
Colourful party and words, done. Colourful party, quick, march.
We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Poziere or in the low scrub of Gallipoli with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. We'd like to thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial and wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.